What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets. I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday, excuse me. Sorry. I'm used to the showdown slates being on Thursday, so we have another baseball showdown slate. Unfortunately, Sheets' team went home last night, and I get to go watch my team. I wish we were never in this spot, but I'm gonna go through the same thing. If I'm gonna be very frustrated if it doesn't work out. Sheets, I don't want to ask you about last night because it was a bummer. What do we do to get going tonight? How do you want me to start this? Usually I would ask, how's your night, and then have you go, but just
it's all good. So what I noticed about again, we talked about this. I played a couple of showdown slates this year. One of them I took down, and my strategy for the one I took down was I just accepted whatever just nonsense relievers went into my lineup, and they were all this is a couple of weeks ago. They were all 4K guys, and I just needed one of them to get in the game for an inning, because what happens, they were 4,000. It basically just made the rest of the entire lineup unique. Turns out that none of my guys got in that thing. They got zeros, and I still won the whole thing. And I was thinking about last night doing something similar, with just spreading out all these 4K guys. As a matter of fact, the first, not this was the winner, but the first run I had when I used Sabres to help me build was I had literally 100% of that guy who came in to close at the end, whoever's a Whitlock or something like that. I never heard of him, but then I said, okay, if I don't want 100% of him, what do I get? And I literally got one reliever in every freaking lineup. And my game script, I just didn't like it. You know what I mean? So I just didn't play it. As it turns out, it was one guy was battling with another guy who was battling with another. Everybody who was in the top five had one of the relievers.
Is that real? Because that doesn't make any sense, even because statistically the other guys outproduced them.
Doesn't matter though. It made the lineups all havable. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
Yeah.
You look at the results. All these guys had them. And so I'm gonna consider that when I build tonight, because tonight, I mean, I'm gonna do something similar with my construction of last night, except I have a little more confidence in it this time. I'm gonna just basically load up on 5 Dodgers and just cheapo it up with some Cardinal and rock the house. And I think my initial idea is to cheapo some of these relievers I've never heard of. Or at the very worst, just take literally the cheapest St. Louis Cardinal that's going to be in the lineup, and just roll with that. That's my initial take on what I want to do on this slate. I presume that we're leaning Dodgers in this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not, take all my passion and everything I want away, and the fact that I'm going to the game and all that. But I do like the Dodgers. I mean, I think that's just the logical way you should be playing this, and I will do a similar thing that I did that didn't work last night. Is I will be probably not captaining my pitchers, and I will probably be. I might captain Scherzer a little, but it's going to be much below the field, and I will be heavy on some of these hitters that maybe some people are afraid to play down towards the bottom of the order. That's sort of my plan anyway.
No, I don't. And again, it's a little bit premature, only because I don't know who's playing. I mean, I don't know exactly who's starting. So I mean, we don't have a lineup yet. So I mean, I guess we could guess, but for example, do you think that I don't know, that Pujols starts?
No way.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
No, he's barely on the roster. He's literally the 26th. He's the last player to make it. Right. I don't even know if he is on the roster, actually. I should double check that.
Oh, well, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. No, Pujols plays strictly against lefties, and he gets 1 to 2 at bats in those situations. That's okay. And even then, nobody really likes it or gets it. He's definitely the worst player on this baseball team. But anyway, it'll be Beatty or Lux as the only other unusual bat, and maybe there's a chance it could be Chris Taylor. I think all of those make sense, but I think who your top 7 are most likely. And it could be Taylor instead of Bellinger. It could be Beatty instead of I don't know. I think that they're going to play Bellinger would be my guess. I think it'll be Mookie, Seager, Turner, Smith, Bellinger, in some form. Pollock and Beatty. Probably maybe Pollock would bat 6th and Bellinger would bat 7th if he was in, and Taylor would bat 7th if he was in, and Lux would bat 7th or 8th if he was in. But he's kind of banged up. The Dodgers are pretty banged up, so this is not their best lineup that we've seen all year. We have no Muncy. And
so who am I missing? The guys I have here that I at least have a projection on. Let me see. I have a total of 16 people.
That's the right number.
Including the pitchers, though. No. So I'm missing 1 hitter from each team here. Seager bets, I guess Lux would be the eighth, right?
Yeah, Lux. I would imagine Lux gets in.
Maybe
No, no,
Sosa.
no, no. Sorry, I would imagine Beatty gets in. Lux he's pretty banged up after he crashed into the wall. So I think that right now I would assume Beatty, especially Beatty's hit. You know, he homered in the last 2 games that he played when Lux got
And you think maybe Sosa would be the guy I'm missing here, maybe?
for St. Louis.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could you pull up your screen? I can't see what you're looking at.
Oh, I didn't share my screen?
Yeah,
Oh,
no, no problem. No problem.
yeah, I thought I was sharing my screen.
No. I don't think Sosa would be in the lineup today, but I don't know what he would want to do. My guess would be that he wouldn't be in the lineup, but
Here, this is what I got. So I got the guys. I got these guys. Whom do you think I'm missing from this Cardinal?
that's the whole team. I mean, that he would project, you know.
That's 7 guys.
Hold on.
Be an eighth. There's got to be an eighth, right?
You said 16 total. That would be the right number. So
No, because I have 2 pitchers in there also.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So you have Bader, O'Neill, Arenado, Goldschmidt, Carlson. Does you have Carlson in there?
Yeah, I got Carlson.
Edmund, DeYoung. DeYoung is probably the one.
Dion. Okay, Dion is the one I'm missing.
If he's in, and I'm not 100% sure. Again, it's going to be him or Sosa, but I would imagine it would be.
Okay.
I don't know. Actually, it could go. That's one that could go either way.
So I'm missing one of those guys, and I'm missing for the Dodgers either Beatty or Lux. Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. So
Beatty, Lux, or it could be Taylor. I mean, they could do a few different things with their lineup, and it could be those guys have all got pinch fielding, pinch hit risk, everything, you know. And once you get past 6 on the Dodgers, everybody is probably going to come out at some point if the game is still up for grabs. What I would be today is my favorite play is probably Turner as the captain, Trey Turner, that is. I honestly, it's too bad Muncy's not in because he'd probably be my favorite Dodger, and Turner's really expensive. But I'm looking at my captains as Turner, Mookie, Seager, probably Turner, Seager, then Mookie in that order for me. It is going to be, we have the 5 o'clock games here, and you're going to probably get some shadows for the beginning of the game, which makes more of an argument for Scherzer because you can get through some innings quickly. And it makes maybe less of an argument for the top of the order. Just thinking to try and get creative because it's a small slate, that the guys batting at the end of the second, beginning of the third inning are probably in better spots than the guys who are batting right to start the game, just because of the way the shadows tend to work this time of year at Dodger Stadium. Not to say that these guys, it's not a guarantee or anything. I mean, so one night we'll talk about all this stuff on a different show I was doing, and the Dodgers ended up on a Friday night. They played an early game once and they hit 5 home runs. So in the first inning. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to decide between them. I think you're going to see the lowest ownership on Bellinger, and I think Beatty is at his price will probably still get played. And I think you're just going to see way low ownership on the Cardinals. And I think the guys you want to try and mess around with, if you're going to, are the guys who are most likely, if you make the one mistake. Goldschmidt, Arenado, Tyler O'Neill make a lot of sense. Dylan Carlson and Harrison Bader, actually. I don't mind using Harrison Bader out of the 8th spot at a 70. He's got an expensive price because he was red hot. He was player of the week before last. And I would consider using Bader as probably my favorite if he's low owned, assuming that he's low owned, of the Cardinals. Which I know sounds weird, but he's been, I mean, what does he hit? He's hit how many home runs over his last? Yeah, he's hit 4 home runs over his last 9 games. That's probably the most interesting bat because he's expensive, but he's probably going to be hitting 8th. If he ends up batting 5th or 6th, like he's done a couple times this year, then he probably won't be low owned. It's pretty basic. But I'm looking for somebody to run into one, and I just think I really want to try to play a position player in my captain spot because I think that it's going to be overwhelmingly in Scherzer's favor, and I will be lower on Wainwright, except for I think that there's a really good chance that he throws, that he ends up with 12 to 16 points here, and that's probably a reasonable enough. If we had a hitter at 9K or at what is he for this 10-4. We probably would consider a guy who we thought that would be their sort of median. And if we think that's his median, then I think you should consider playing both those guys. And in order to do that, that would force you into a very common build, I think. So I'm going to have to try to fade the Wainwright thing, but I do think it makes sense if you can do it with the 2 of them. It means you have to play Beatty, Bellinger probably, and then probably Bader or Carlson, who are, I guess Molina and DeYoung are cheap. So you could play DeYoung to run into one against Scherzer. I'm having trouble deciding which way I want to go. I do know that of the Dodgers, my favorites are Turner, Seager, and Mookie. Nothing groundbreaking there, but I do think they'll be lower owned in the captain spot. And I really like Will Smith also. He would probably be my fourth one, and maybe the one who, if we think he's going to be off the board enough, maybe we play him as our captain. That's the way I'm leaning for this type of build, and trying to hope, like I honestly hope Scherzer goes nuts and pitches amazing and everything, but I would, for my lineup's sake, you hope Scherzer maybe, gets the 20 fantasy points, and maybe you can get some value from one of these guys to outscore him. The problem is you're not getting that much price savings. So because of that, with Turner, Seager, and Mookie, maybe I would lean on taking a cheaper, I guess you could say, Will Smith would be the cheaper version of that would allow you to play maybe more of the guys you want to. So Will Smith may end up by the end of the day being my favorite captain.
Yeah, it's so funny. I don't really just think about it that way. In other words, like if I were not going to put Scherzer in the captain, I really wouldn't worry about which guy I put in, just because of the way baseball just kind of works. I want my lineups to be able to get Scherzer in the lineup.
Yeah, right? He's going to be in the lineup. Yeah.
In the lineups, and like for me to distinguish between Seager, Betts, Turner, either Turner, honestly, in the captain, I you know what I mean. I'll probably just whatever I get, I'll get. I don't think I'm going to take a stand on any of that. But
the reason I'm saying it is because if you look at it just from a value standpoint, you're only paying 20% less for a hitter.
Do you really care though?
Yeah, because if Will Smith puts up 16 fantasy points and Mookie puts up 16 fantasy points, I'm not expecting Scherzer to have less than 16.
Right.
So then why would I just be captaining Scherzer?
Right.
See what I'm saying? So yeah. But if you get the guy who's a little bit cheaper, it allows you to play an extra, all three of those guys maybe and Scherzer, which I think is possible if you play Will Smith. Then that's why I would probably do it. And it's looking like that would be my initial way of trying to build here. Yeah, that actually works out okay. It almost works out okay. It's very close. But I hear what you're saying. In general, if you want to not play Scherzer, you want to try and get the guy with just the most upside period. And that would be Mookie and Trey Turner. But yeah, it's a little tricky because I agree with that philosophy, but I also think if you're going to do it, try and use the actual savings to good use in the captain spot. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
But it is going to be hard to fade the Scherzer. Like that's a rough fade. You know what I mean? As a captain, a guy who basically has what you feel like is a floor of around 18 to 20 fantasy points, and that's really hard to get points in a showdown. So. I mean, then again,
the other thing I just throw out there is I know it's different or whatever, but it's possible because of Cole kind of busting last night that maybe just maybe Scherzer is not like a zillion% owned in captain. I mean, he'll still be a billion, but maybe it won't be a zillion. I don't know. It's just like you said, it's the combination of floor ceiling is just so strong with that guy, Like for example, like I think that if you reverse the roles, I don't think Scherzer comes out when Cole comes out. I think Scherzer stays in.
I think if he was struggling that badly, he would. The only difference is I think they would wait to pinch hit for him if they could.
Okay, right.
Try to go for that. I mean, that's the thing is like if they're down, even if he's pitching great and it's the fifth inning, if they're down 2-0 or they're down 2-1, they're going to pinch hit for him.
and the fact is that the Yankees did pretty well holding them for a while. They did, I can't, man, that is such an incredible freaking play to happen when the Yankees had all the momentum coming back, and when Judge got thrown out at the plate.
That was brutal.
I wonder if the third base coach took any heat for that. I don't know.
Yeah, he did on Twitter.
I didn't check. I didn't know.
Yeah, he definitely did on Twitter. I don't even know if it's right or wrong, to be honest. And I mean, you gotta say a little unlucky for Stanton there. He looked like he could have hit 3 home runs.
Well, I don't know if you saw this, but at the first inning, John Sterling, who's basically, he's like a legend, sort of like a Yankee, but he's a freaking clown. Okay, and he gave the ultimate, just like rubbing it in home run freaking chant with abbreviation, all that stuff. Before he realized that the guy only got a double. It was like so embarrassing. He did the whole freaking thing. It's a Stantonian home run. And wait a minute, what did I do? It's like, literally just only in a playing game. Only, you just freaking idiot. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So I know what I'm doing. I mean, like I said, I don't know exactly how it's going to look. There's going to be 5 Dodgers and there's going to be a Cardinal, and the Cardinal is going to be bad.
It's going to be very hard to get that in unless you pay down at captain. There literally aren't enough cheap Dodgers for you to do that very easily. Just you've only got like 2 different lineup combinations you can do if you try and do it. Because I just tried it, and you can do it. You can't play Betts, and you can't play any combination of Seager, Turner, or Betts. So you have to play one of those guys.
Like this lineup, you don't like who G Cabrera is?
Oh, the relief pitcher.
Yeah, Scherzer, Betts, Turner. Let's go. I mean, I don't care with whatever.
Yeah, I hear you. I like this. I like the strategy. Hey, man, it works for you. I'm not going to criticize it.
Yep.
I also think that the flip side of this, and look, I'm a Dodger fan, obviously, but like, there is that you're going to get seriously under-owned Cardinals in general, especially the ones that cost any money. So I actually think the right strategy, if you want to take the other angle, maybe you're not even saying you stack all of them, but if you play the expensive Cardinals and then the cheap Dodgers like Bellinger, if you play Bellinger and Beatty, assuming that that's how the lineup shakes out, and then you play Goldschmidt and Arenado to start off with, or Goldschmidt and Tyler O'Neill, you're already going to be very different than everything else. I think the cheap Cardinals will get some ownership, but I don't think the expensive ones will. I don't think Bader will, if he's batting 8th. I don't think the 7-8 guys will. But that's the angle I think you take for the Cardinals, because like Molina's going to have ownership because he's 4,600. But it's just so you try to play the expensive ones just to get different. DeYoung will have some ownership because he's 5,800. There just aren't as many cheap options in this game, so it kind of narrows your build. Unlike last night where we had all this, even though it wasn't great value, all this value. I probably should be looking at some relievers. I guess that you can. I mean, we could talk about Kenley. Like, I mean, that's another thing real quick. Like, I think that there is an argument to be made for the Dodgers winning and, getting the 7-8 points from your 4.
Yeah, but I don't need that one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need those points.
What do you mean?
Because I can get Dodger points.
Not for 4K though.
Right. That's true.
So that's what I mean. Like, if you played the Scherzer Jansen combination with, and you still couldn't get all the guys I mentioned in the same lineup, but you could still at least do some things, and you could get 2 of them in the lineup with that combination. Yeah, I actually like that quite a bit.
By the way, I will tell you one lineup that I'm definitely playing. And it's going to be what's this, a $15 tournament? Okay, so this is a $15 like throw in the garbage can. Okay, it's kind of like an homage to my struggles. Okay, I 100% I'm going to be playing one lineup like the one that I just described, with the oft maligned Luis Garcia from St. Louis as a reliever in here. I don't think he's pitched an inning in forever. Maybe he pitched an inning October 2nd, but I've complained for like 2 months how the name Luis Garcia has been like destroying my life with my projections, because there are 3 Luis Garcias, the national second baseman, the good pitcher from Houston, and this freaking idiot from St. Louis who never gets into games but always shows up in my projection models. I am going to be taking out all of the money with the Luis Garcia getting 0 lineup tonight.
All right. That sounds good. I need the Cardinals long relievers. I need to, get the feel who they've used. And I probably will know that a little more in the day. Maybe I'll pop it into the Discord. Cause I need
What's his name? One of our guys in there says he's going to be doing some homework on that, by the way. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'll look into that a little bit too, because I think that's a good route to go. But I personally think naturally Jansen makes the most sense for me as a reliever. The problem is you could be getting a really good long reliever. The problem is those guys are going to cost close. They're going to be like, 6,400, 6,800. They're not going to be 4K.
Right.
So that's the one thing. But I'm leaning on a 4-2, 5-1 Dodgers right now. I don't think it's going to be way off the board or anything, but I think you can find different ways to leave some money on the table and do it. And I think if you're going to play Scherzer as a starter, in there, like, I think it does make a lot of sense to play Jansen. So he'd be my favorite reliever just off the bat. All right, guys. Actually, you know what? I don't know that I agree with that Jansen would be my favorite. I need to double check a couple things, but I think he would probably be my It's a little too shaky. Maybe I wouldn't play Jansen. I'll do some research and I'll post it later in chat. All right, guys. Well, good luck to everyone tonight. We hope that the Dodgers win. Go Dodgers.
Yep.
And we hope that somebody takes something down.
I'll tell you what. I'll do you one. If the Dodgers make the World Series and can somehow play Boston, I will meet you in Boston. How about that?
Okay, that sounds good to me. Although I have already going through terrifying PTSD from last time I was in Boston. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll go back there again for sure. All right, buddy. Well, good luck everybody out there, and we will see you shortly. We've got a couple more videos to do today.